You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. As we are in the process of designing the business that's going to give us the life that we want, sometimes people are a little bit reluctant to break the rules. They're not sure what they should or should not do. They still have some self-doubt going on. And with a lot of rebelpreneurs, they are solopreneurs. They're doing this on their own. They're providing a service or something that is not working with a team, not checking in the office every morning. And so they don't get the feedback that they're looking for. And as a result, that creates a lot of self-doubt. So the question is, how can we create the life and the business that we want and do it in a way that we're going to have fun? That seems to be my mantra lately. If we're not going to have fun, what's the point? Well, today's guest is going to teach women specifically how to get the life you want without becoming a woman you hate. I think that's a great topic. I think that would be a great topic for a book, great book title, as a matter of fact. I'm speaking with Natalie Wilson. She is a highly sought after life coach for ambitious former nice girls who have always done the right thing but still aren't happy. They want to feel better but don't even know where to start. As a former teacher and corporate sales executive with degrees in both business and education, Natalie specializes in helping smart, sensitive perfectionists, that's me, right? Smart, sensitive perfectionists get out of their own way and stop feeling like they're doing it all wrong so they can have the life they want. Natalie Wilson, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Ralph. Excited to be here.
You're speaking right to me when you're talking about smart, sensitive perfectionists. I am exactly who you're helping, except that I'm not a woman, but I think I could still benefit from your wisdom. And it's interesting that the previous show I just produced, we were talking about perfectionism as well. So that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with. And so I'm really interested in hearing your take on it. First, tell us a little bit about how you got started in life coaching and what brought you to this point.
Yeah. So, after college, I actually had a lucrative job in the wine world. But my sensitive side, kind of led me to feel like I needed to do something more with my life, have a calling. And, at the time I thought there was just only one calling in my life. And so I picked teaching. Well, fast forward to my 30s, I was single, sensitive, smart, and extremely miserable. I really felt like a victim of my circumstances. I was lonely and felt like I was missing out on the world as a single woman. And for years I had been what I call circling the roundabout of life, where you just kind of watch everybody else move forward and you just kind of keep circling from thing to thing, not really making decisions because you're so worried about making the wrong decision. And at the time I was 8 years into teaching and I was about to sign up for another year and I just couldn't do it. I knew something had to change. So I started doing some life coaching with Martha Beck and realized that I had the power to change what I wanted in my life. And what was holding me back was me, not anyone else. So I started working on transforming my mindset and transforming my life as I started to grow. At that point, I then got leadership opportunities. I won awards, and then I met my now husband. But through all of that, I realized that I had truly believed that I had to put everyone else first, do everything right, and everyone had to like me. I was just I realized I was a recovering people pleaser and perfectionist. And you can see what kind of prison this is for anyone. Like you said, that was you yourself, but especially for someone who also
It's still me. You're talking about that in the past tense like it's something I've overcome. That's still me. I mean, that describes me right now. People pleaser, perfectionist.
Right. And it can hold you back, especially when you're wanting to crush goals and go after your dreams. They don't always go together. And one can be a limiting belief, or they can be limiting beliefs. So I just learned tools that learned to change my mindset and change some of the sensitive personality traits that for me were holding me back. And that led me to become a certified life coach through the life coach school and work with what I call the nice girls. I help them learn that nice girls can get the corner office if they want it.
So what's your definition of the nice girl?
So I say the nice girl, it's the do-gooders. There's also what is called the highly sensitive personality trait. And the highly sensitive person, it's about 20% of the population. So about 50 million of us are HSPs, and we just process everything around us much more than the ones who aren't. And it's kind of like being an introvert or an extrovert. In fact, about 70% of HSPs are introverts. And it's just that you think so deeply, you get consumed with people's thoughts. You always want to do the right thing. And unfortunately, a lot of the nice girls are the ones who also fade to the background. They're the wallflowers, the pushovers, the doormats. And don't put themselves first. So they're being kind, but they're not being kind to themselves.
Okay. So what do you do for someone like that? Now that you have kind of identified who it is, what do you do? How do you help someone who has a highly sensitive personality trait and they're so nice that they let people just kind of walk all over them?
Well, a lot of the women that I work with are also the high achievers, the smart, ambitious ones. And so they kind of become overwhelmed with their emotions, and they're not really sure what they want. And that's really where we start. So, I mentioned that roundabout of life earlier that I myself was on. And that's kind of where we begin. Okay, where is it that you're circling and you're not really showing up or moving forward in your life where you want to because you're holding yourself back for whatever it is. So that's where we begin with helping them figure out, okay, what are their limiting beliefs? What is going on in their brains that's telling them that they need to hide, they need to hold back? And as we, excavate that and that shows up, then we start replacing it with some beliefs and thoughts that do help them realize that they can become a woman who does get what they want. But they don't have to become aggressive, rude, or inconsiderate to get those things, which is what a lot of them do.
I'm curious as I hear you describe this, do you, in your experience, do you think that people are born this way, that they're born with highly sensitive personality traits like this? Or do you think that the sensitivity and the perfectionism is a defense mechanism that has been the result of previous pain that they've experienced?
I believe it's a result. It's a personality trait. So I do believe that all personality traits can be changed, that you can work on things, and that because of that, they're also a result of the world around them, the environment. So like you just mentioned, it being a defense mechanism and a learned behavior. I do think a lot of people, it is a learned behavior that they get it from either watching their parents. Their parents might have been, a highly sensitive person. It might be a defense mechanism based off of their own childhood or whatever it might be. But yeah, I think it's a learned trait, which also means, right, if you learned it, then you can also unlearn it. You can change it.
So that makes a lot of sense, Natalie, as you're working with women, transforming them from nice girls into, they're still nice. I mean, you're not going to make them ugly, right? I mean, you're not going to make them abrasive and rude girls, but, right?
Exactly.
But to help them get out of their own way and stop feeling like they're doing it all wrong. so they can build the life and the business that they want to build, if that's what they want to do, or get the corner office and the career advancement and basically achieve the things that they want to achieve. As you're working with these women, what is the biggest challenge you see? What is the one thing, if you can narrow it down to one thing, what is the greatest obstacle in helping these nice girls to find happiness?
The greatest obstacle in the women that I've worked with, my clients, have been their lack of indecision, or their lack of decision. They're being caught in indecision because it's a result of having their own self-doubt, of not really knowing what everyone else wants them to do, wanting to make everyone else happy. And because they are constantly focused on making everyone else happy, doing everything right, and their own self-doubt, they don't pay attention to what they really want. And they end up exhausted, thinking for everyone else. And they know that they want more, but they're not even sure exactly what to do to get it. So I have a client who wanted to quit her job and start her own business. And that was the goal we were going to work towards. But as we started coaching, it became apparent that she really just wanted to quit her job. She wasn't really sure what she wanted after she quit it. And nice girls never do. They change their mind so much, and they want to ask 20 other people for their opinion.
She didn't know what she wanted, but she knew what she didn't want. And what she did not want was that job that she had.
Exactly, right? I need to get out of it. That's all I know. And so she's, making really decisions out of fear. So, so now you have fear, you have doubt, you have this perfectionist. It's like, just a snowball. And at the same time, it's this pressure because they want to do everything correctly. So if they make the wrong decision, what will happen? And a lot of them just don't even know. If you ask them, what do they like to do for fun, or the dreams that they might have, they honestly aren't sure because they're just so used to doing for everyone else and being on for everyone else that they hold themselves back.
They didn't feel it would be responsible of them to just quit their job for no particular reason other than I just don't like it. They had to have a way to defend that by saying, well, what I want to do is start this over here, even though that really wasn't what they wanted to do, but they felt like they had to come up with a rationalization. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. So in their mind, they see an idea that sounds like a great idea, sounds like they're helping people, and sounds like a great escape. And as she started moving forward, she started realizing that was not, all the work that it was going to be, the change that she was going to have. And she wasn't quite sure if that was the route she wanted to do. And what ended up actually with her is she found something else that offered her more freedom of time and flexibility that she was really wanting. But now, as I've been working with her, what's been great is she's had this huge learning curve with this new job, and was beginning to spin and self-doubt and do all the same things. But we've been able to work and apply the tools that, I teach her to this new job. So right now I've been talking to her how, a baby, when they learn to walk, doesn't just walk once or twice and then give up. He doesn't, right? He doesn't doubt that walking is the wrong decision. He's not like, never mind, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I took that step and I took a big risk and I fell, right. And now I'm not going to walk anymore.
Not doing it, right? Like not doing it, Mom. And he doesn't judge himself either. He's not thinking I'm a loser. I need, hit the panic button. There's no judgment. He just does it over and over again until all of a sudden he walks.
Yeah.
And in the past, she might have quit this new job, changed her mind, panic, all the things. But through our work, she's been able to minimize that stress level and realize that she's just learning. It doesn't have to be perfect. And minimize that overwhelm that a lot of sensitive people start to feel when they're learning a lot of things at the same time. And apply those strategies of, okay, we're going to chunk it. We're going to make powerful decisions, and we're not going to change our minds on those things. And we're going to minimize that overwhelm by breaking down the tasks as much as possible, so they don't seem daunting to our brain. Because our brain will see the big thing and become completely overwhelmed. But when you break it down, it's like you're fooling your brain. You're saying, oh, I'm just going to do this one thing today.
Yeah.
And it's not as overwhelming as when you're thinking, I have a huge project to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to climb Mount Everest today. I'm just going to look at what equipment do I need to pack in my suitcase.
That's right.
Chunk it down, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
You shared some great strategies there, and I'll probably ask you to do them again to help listeners who are really struggling with this to have a chance to write this down and put it into practice. Before I ask you for that 3-step process again, do you think that this particularly, I know you work with women, do you think that this is really acute in women as opposed to men, this idea of indecision? And it's not a weakness. It's just the way women are wired to be more caring of and more considerate and more connected with other people maybe than a male is wired. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
I have never contemplated working with men. I just wanted to focus on women just because of my own experiences. However, thinking about the, how society trains women, in addition to the fact of how we are, naturally wired as, the nurturing mother types. I do think that it is, more common in women than in men, although there's lots of men also who are highly sensitive people, as well as overachievers. And I love what you said when you started it off, and you said it's not a weakness. In fact, I see it as a gift,
right? Especially
when you mix the sensitivity with the high achieving, and you're like, wow, we need more people in this world like that, not the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, 1 + 1 is 3. That's the great synergy that Stephen Covey is talking about. It's not that man is better than woman, woman is better than man. We need all of these different strengths working together to create synergy, so that the sum of the parts is more than the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, whatever. That we are working together and creating and doing so many wonderful things that we could not do on our own. So this is really, really exciting. I think it's kind of a breakthrough for people to be able to see the thing that they're struggling with. It's not a weakness, but it's a strength, but you've got to practice that. You've got to see it as a strength, first of all, so that you don't try to minimize it or say what's wrong with me. And I think that contributes a lot to the feeling that they're doing it all wrong when really they could be doing it all right. What can someone begin to do right now? You mentioned a few tools that you use, with helping people. Would you mind running through that list for us again? Just a few quick, self-help tips.
Sure. Yeah. So I mentioned just how to break down tasks so they don't seem so overwhelming to your brain. So when you have a project or you're learning, you have a big learning curve, and it's like you have a lot of things to do at once. When you just see things as the next thing that you're doing, the next step, a smaller task does not seem so overwhelming. So when you think about losing 100 pounds, it seems completely overwhelming. But when you just think, today, I'm going to not drink as much Coke as I want to, right? Then it becomes a lot more simplified. And you're like, oh, okay, I can do that one thing. So that's a powerful technique, is just to chunk down any major task that you're doing. Another thing is what I call take 5. And when you're in the midst of a business meeting, a time in your day that it just seems overwhelming, and to the point where the tears are springing up. I tell people all the time, the tears spring up so naturally in, especially I think women, and it's anger a lot of times for men, that you take 5 seconds to pay attention to your 5 senses. So I call it take 5. And as you take the 5 seconds just to pay attention to your 5 senses, what do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? What are you tasting? All those things. What are you feeling? You're becoming present, and it allows yourself to connect you back to what's going on now, lets you breathe and grounds you, and really allows you to maybe stop the tears, stop the feeling of overwhelm, and be able to make better decisions and move forward.
Excellent. I love that. Those are great tips. And I see that would really help people in the crisis of the moment. Having said that, however, they're going to need more than just a few tips to really turn their life around and really achieve the level of success and happiness that they're capable of. So that's when they need to consider working with someone like you, Natalie, who can help them improve their chances for success. How would you take someone and how do you work with people to help them get to that point?
Yeah, so we start off really first talking about owning the life that you have, just learning to take 100% responsibility, and that enables people to then see that it's also within their control to do what they want to do and need to do to create the life they want. And then I start working on, all right, now that you're owning the life you have, let's know the life you want. And throughout of owning the life you have and knowing the life you want, we talk about visualizing, we talk about figuring out every area of your life, your financial, your health, your relationships, career, where you're at, where you want to be, and but being super specific and really visualizing that out and learning the tools that comes with getting our brains set for that, and then committing to the life you want. And that's a big part, a big, I guess, hold up for sensitive people who are high achievers is committing to things. Like I said, making those decisions. So I teach a lot of my clients how to make powerful, strong decisions and being confident in that. And just really quieting that inner critic, that mean girl is what I like to say. So that's what we do when in our time together.
Very exciting. And I think probably one of the greatest advantages is to working with you is that they don't have to figure all of this out on their own, that you've got a path, you've got a program, and you've got a plan. And most importantly, you are able to keep them accountable for the decisions that they make. And I just think that's so valuable. So you've got your coaching practice. What else are you working on right now that's got you really excited?
Well, I'm actually super excited about doing a program for the single, smart, and sensitive overachievers out there, especially, in their 30s and 40s. As someone who married at 37, I really understand the pain points and problems of single women in their 30s and 40s. I myself had situational depression, and I blamed the world for not being sensitive to the single women and there not being, quote unquote, enough good men out there. And it really, for being sensitive and being single in that age frame, you begin to think there really is something wrong with you. So my new program is not to help single women find a husband. It's to help single women, especially my sensitive sisters, create the happiness, because they're going to learn to balance the gift of being sensitive with the gift of being a high achiever. And really, when that happens, they then create the relationships and the career they want. So it's a total win-win.
That is so incredibly wise of you, that your program is not about helping single women find the perfect husband, because what's going to happen, and I've seen other programs that tend to focus on that, but it reinforces this idea that something's wrong with you. You need to change the way you are to attract the right kind of person, and then this other person is going to fulfill you. And that's the wrong foundation for any kind of a relationship, but particularly a marriage, isn't it?
That's right. Yes. Preach, brother.
Well, this has been really, really interesting and really educational. I find myself, thinking about ways that this applies to my wife, to my daughters, and even to myself. But this has really been educational. Natalie, thank you so much for being on the show. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Thanks. And thanks for having me. Yes, I do love the quote from Glinda, the Good Witch on The Wizard of Oz. She looks at Dorothy at the end and says, "You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself." I really want the nice girl, high achievers, the HSPs out there to consider what's happening when they hide in the shadows and become a wallflower. They think they're doing good in the world, but in reality, they're just hiding the very gifts and skills that this world really needs. So they have a unique power to help the world with that gift of being sensitive and a high achiever. And the world needs more of that. So I want them to learn that power for themselves because they already have it.
Very well said. I've been speaking with Natalie Wilson. She is a highly sought after life coach for ambitious former nice girls who have always done the right thing, but they still aren't happy. Natalie specializes in helping smart, sensitive perfectionists get out of their own way and stop feeling like they're doing it all wrong so they can have the life they want. If you want to find out more and connect with Natalie Wilson, the best place to go is her website. It's nataliewilsoncoaching.com, nataliewilsoncoaching.com. And we'll have that website link on the Rebelpreneur website as well. So, Natalie, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your work and all the good that you're doing to help women in the world. Thank you for being on Rebelpreneur Radio today.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.